Death on the roads. 2 pedestrians killed in less than 24 hours. The 2 things police say you must do now if you want to walk anywhere in Las Vegas. Greed in the desert? Why tickets for this year's Burning Man festival are stirring up controversy from some of its oldest participants. And magic money, the legal loophole that has experts saying the nation's debt crisis could be solved with just 1 coin.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is Channel 8 News Now, Weekend Edition.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Drawhorn. Yet another pedestrian is dead after being hit by a car. It happened just after 6 p.m. on Warm Springs near Hinson. Police say a man walked out into traffic and was hit by an SUV. He was pronounced dead at the scene. That's now the 2nd pedestrian death here in less than 24 hours. 8 News Now is live. Cassandra Garcia is on the scene now with more at our top story. Cassandra?
Well, Aaron, Metro is still out here investigating this scene, and if you take a look behind me, you can see how rural and dark this area actually is. There aren't even any street lights out here. You can see why it was so hard for a vehicle coming down this way to even see anyone crossing the street. Down this dark section of West Warm Springs is where police say a man in his late 40s was killed as he attempted to cross the street to get home. Police say the driver of this SUV tried slowing down, but it was too late.
Witnesses who were driving the other direction when the collision occurred basically saw the headlights flicker and knew something had happened, so they pulled over. The
pedestrian was pronounced dead at the scene. Metro says this is the 2nd pedestrian death in their jurisdiction since the beginning of the year. Just Friday night, a pedestrian was hit as they were crossing Tropicana outside of a marked crosswalk. Sergeant Strader urges people traveling by foot to use a crosswalk, use bright-colored clothing, and walk in an area where they are visible to oncoming traffic. Police do not believe the driver of the SUV was impaired or that he was going over the posted speed limit. The driver did receive medical attention at the scene after the accident.
This person who was driving down the road, minding their own business, doing the speed limit, who now has to deal with the fact that their vehicle killed somebody. So, you know, it's tragic all the way around. I'm just, you know, I'm speechless at this point. You know, we've tried so much. We've done meetings with the public. We've sat down with the leaders in our community.
After yet another pedestrian death, Metro says they will continue to preach pedestrian safety in hopes that the message will reach the ears of the community. Now, right now, the driver is not facing any charges, and last year, 109 pedestrians were killed. That number is far too high. Again, Metro says it's important to use crosswalks, use bright-colored clothing, and don't underestimate the speed that a vehicle is going. So don't get into the street even though you think you can make it before that car comes. Reporting live, Cassandra Garcia, 8 News Now.
We're also learning more tonight about a crash in the Summerlin area. It happened at the intersection of Sun City and Billy Casper. Metro police say it was serious enough for the fatal detail to be sent out to investigate. The RJ says 5 people were taken to the hospital in unknown conditions. We're now hearing from those who are closest to an 18-year-old killed walking down the street on New Year's Day. Jesse Hill died at the hospital after he and his 16-year-old girlfriend were hit by a car in North Las Vegas. Police say the driver was speeding and his passenger was in possession of marijuana. Jesse was home for Christmas break. He was a student at Embry-Riddle University. His pastor says Jesse was a great person.
I think most of us, we'd want our boys to grow up and be young men like him because full of faith. He wanted to honor God with his life and actually a very, very hard worker.
His girlfriend is still in critical condition at the hospital. Jesse's pastor has hopes for the 2 teens in the car.
I hope through this that they seek forgiveness of the family and you know, that this might be one step for them to lean upon faith as well.
The family is asking instead of flowers, you make a donation to the Nevada Donor Network or the Jesse Hill Fund at Bank of America. With thousands of Clark County kids hitting the streets this upcoming week, officials want to make sure drivers are safe. Officers from the Metro Police Department, NHP, and school police will be out with heavy patrols in all of those school zones. They'll be going after speeders and unsafe drivers and jaywalkers. 40 pedestrians died in traffic-related accidents last year. A suspected serial killer is expected to be in court on Monday for the first time since the district attorney announced he's planning to seek the death penalty. Nathaniel Burkett has pleaded not guilty to murdering 3 women in Las Vegas, the first in 1978, the other 2 in 1994. Clark County DA Steve Wolfson says a panel of prosecutors decided to go ahead and seek the maximum penalty. Burkett was arrested last year after DNA evidence tied him to those crimes. Gun shows across the Northeast U.S. are canceling or rescheduling in the wake of the Newtown shooting, but that didn't stop one nearby show in Stamford, Connecticut today. The East Coast Firearms Show went on as planned despite protests from the city's mayor. Big crowds of gun enthusiasts and collectors came, and vendors say those crowds are usual after tragedies like the one at Sandy Hook Elementary. Dealers say every buyer gets a background check, and security at this event is boosted. That show continues tomorrow. Another town rocked by tragedy is dealing with more gun violence. A gunman and 3 other people are dead tonight after a standoff in Aurora, Colorado. It all happened about 4 miles away from the Aurora Mall, where 12 people were killed in a shooting at a movie theater. Police say the suspect barricaded himself inside his house and shot at police officers. The gunman died from a gunshot wound. However, it's still unclear tonight if the SWAT team shot him or if he shot himself. Before that winter vacation wraps up, tons of people were out on the slopes of Mount Charleston today, but it comes just a few days after an 11-year-old died in a sledding accident. She was not wearing a helmet. At the Las Vegas Ski and Snowboard Resort today, instructors were handing out free helmets as part of the 7th annual Lids on Kids campaign. Paramedics say helmets can reduce the risk of injury significantly.
Statistics have shown that that's resulted in at least a 53% reduction in injuries and prevention of injuries as well.
And when we were up there this morning, we did see some kids playing without helmets. If you missed out on a free helmet, Lids on Kids runs the next 4 Saturdays from 9 to noon up at the Las Vegas Ski and Snowboard Resort. Some of the experts at making those must-have apps for your phone are right here in Las Vegas tonight, and they are working hard to come up with the next big thing. The AT&T Hackathon is going on right now at the Palms. For 2 days straight, groups team up and try to come up with the app people cannot live without. Developers are competing for more than $125,000 in cash and prizes, even a car. And it might not sound like your cup of tea, but for the participants, it is right up their alley.
They're all interested in tinkering and playing. It's about just like you find something that's neat. Like, what does it do? Like, what do these cat ears do? Like, how does this whole thing work, right? And like taking it apart and like, oh, okay, that's how it does.
Those developers will be working until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at the Palms. That comes just before the Consumer Electronics Show comes to town. The first full day is Tuesday. CES is the tech industry's biggest showcase, and companies will be rolling out hot new technology like huge TVs and sleek smartphones. 8 News Now, of course, will be covering the event all week long. There's outrage tonight over the price of tickets for the Burning Man Festival in Nevada's Black Rock Desert. Organizers announced yesterday that 51,000 tickets are on sale for $380 each. The Reno Gazette-Journal says tickets started at $240 last year. That's an increase of nearly $150. Last year, tickets were distributed on a lottery system, but now it is first come, first served. Helping teens, helping parents, helping survivors.
This is something I never want to see happen to another family because I've seen the pain of it in my own family.
One man's mission to eradicate sexual abuse, how one conversation with your kid can change everything. Plus, are football players getting a pass? Why some protesters say a big-time cover-up is going on. City officials in the town of Steubenville, Ohio are defending their investigation of an alleged rape involving members of the city's high school football team. Hundreds gathered outside the courthouse saying football players are getting a pass. Bloggers have been releasing tweets and images connected to the possible rape, including a picture of 2 football players carrying the underage girl. However, city officials and police say they're going about it the right way.
The thought that everyone in Steubenville is acting or is like the individuals that are involved in the case, the teenagers, that we are a community that is run by football. That is not the case.
2 football players are under arrest. The juvenile court trial in this case scheduled for February 13th. Both defense attorneys have said images have been taken out of context and more will be revealed to exonerate their clients. For parents, it can be hard to talk to your children about subjects like sex, dating, even how to reduce sexual violence by and against teens. But one man is looking to change that. Mike Damish runs the Date Safe Project, which helps teach parents how to have those tough conversations. The Date Safe Project provides parents with ways to talk to their kids about dating and sex. He says it's not like the old days for parents.
Parents have to take a really assertive approach to talking with their teens, and they need to do it the right way. Parents just aren't given the tools. You know, most of our parents didn't talk to us about this stuff in great detail. So the Date Safe Project gives you the tools as parents to be able to talk with your teens.
Damish says he got involved after his sister was sexually abused, and he wanted to give people the tools to make sure this doesn't happen anymore. For more information, you can go to the datesafeproject.org. Congress has finally put the fiscal cliff mess behind it, but up next, a debate over the nation's debt ceiling. Republicans say they won't budge over spending cuts, but President Obama might have an ace up his sleeve. Brian Tide reports on a crazy way the president could get the money he needs to keep the government running without any help from Capitol Hill.
Well, I want to welcome.
The president says he won't negotiate with Congress over lifting the debt ceiling.
I will not play that game.
Republicans say
the president may not want to have this debate, but it's the one he's going to have because the country needs it.
So while they debate over a debate and race headlong into the debt ceiling, is there a magic bullet to solve the crisis? Try a magic coin. Some economists, legal scholars, and now even a congressman are suggesting a $1 trillion platinum coin could be minted, and the government could use that to pay the debt, avoid default, and preempt the debt ceiling crisis. Democratic Congressman Gerald Nadler of New York says, "I'm being absolutely serious. It sounds silly, but it's absolutely legal." I spoke to economist Joe Gagnon.
Why do you think it's a good idea right now?
Well, I think it's better than a government shutdown. It's better than defaulting on the debt. I mean, it's better than the bad alternatives.
And technically, it does appear to be legal. Here's how.
The U.S. government can print new money, but under law, there's a limit to how much paper money can be in circulation at any one time. There are also rules that at least limit the denominations that gold, silver, and copper coins can be, but there is no limit on platinum coins. The president can issue a platinum coin in any denomination. Treasury can mint it and then just print on it $1 trillion. The president can then order that coin to be deposited at the Federal Reserve.
Then, says Gagnon,
and the Fed would credit the Treasury's account. And so when the Treasury writes checks to pay people, the Fed will cash them.
And that money would never be in public circulation, so some believe it wouldn't cause inflation. But Gagnon says it'll only temporarily pay America's bills, won't bring down its massive debt long term. That's also some conservatives' argument against it.
I think this is waving pixie dust over the debt and pretending that the debt is going to go away by this, what I view as just another one of these Washington gimmicks. Minting new coins isn't going to do anything about dealing with that fundamental problem.
And what if the coin got stolen? Remember this from Dr. Evil?
If you want it back, you're going to have to pay me $1 million.
So if that $1 trillion coin did get stolen, the government would just mint another one. They're used to printing money, aren't they? And by the way, none of this would require congressional consent. But there is no word yet on whether President Obama would actually consider this idea. After the break, as we continue fighting back against Mother Nature.
We'll come back and guarantee it'll probably come back stronger than ever.
Victims of Superstorm Sandy say they need to tear down the boardwalk, and how long before things are back to normal for them. Later in sports, how another sterling performance from this Rebel freshman helped UNLV to another victory.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is Channel 8 News Now, Weekend Edition.
The cleanup is still continuing for victims of Superstorm Sandy, and a boardwalk devastated by the storm is actually being torn up and replaced. 2.2 miles of boardwalk in Long Beach, New York isn't safe anymore. The demolition will take about a month. Officials say they want to have a new boardwalk rebuilt before the summer starts, but some of the memories of the old one can't be replaced.
Every day it was on this boardwalk. I have a lot of friends who have benches on the boardwalk who passed away. You walk by and you touch it and you say hello. Yeah, a lot of good memories.
That project expected to cost around $25 million, which residents say is necessary because Long Beach is a tourist town. Congress approved a $9 billion aid package for damaged areas this past